Hey everybody, it's Valerie with the US Canada portion of Meant to Be Well, day 2. I am super excited to have my fifth amazing speaker here with us today, Lena Santangeli. And let me tell you more about Lena. She is joining us from Spain. And Olena Santangeli is a neuroscientist and a sleep coach for both children and adults. She earned her doctorate from the University of Helsinki's medical department, where she focused on how early bonding experiences influence brain development and sleep in children. Lena is passionate about the mental well-being of mothers, believing it is essential for forming strong, healthy bonds with their babies. She helps families to improve their children's sleep from birth to 6 years old using nurturing and responsive methods. Additionally, Lena supports adults with their sleep, especially mothers who are dealing with their own sleep challenges during the postpartum period. Her goal is to set families on a path to wellness right from the start, combining scientific insights with practical, actionable tips. And she will be talking with us today about prioritizing sleep, a key to better mental health. So thank you so much for joining us, Lena. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Valerie, for introduction, and thank you so much for having me here. It's really a pleasure to talk about sleep and how it is important for our mental health.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I can start. I prepared a few slides to demonstrate better my talk. So probably most of us aware like the short-term consequences of having not enough good sleep. For example, if you didn't sleep well last night, you're most likely to be kind of irritated and a bit not so focused and not so performing well at work. Maybe you can be a bit aggressive with your partner or friends and having some fog. This is kind of a short-term consequences on having not so good quality of sleep sometimes. And we also have a physical kind of effects from the short-term a lack of sleep, such as we feel tired, of course, obviously, and we also really changing our dietary habits. We really crave sugar because we didn't get energy from the sleep, so we are craving it from other sources. But what is more importantly, it's actually the long-term consequences of the lack of sleep, because if it happens like short-term, it's fine, it's like can happen one day or sometime from one to another day. But what is more important is if we on chronicle basis don't have a proper quality of sleep of enough duration, we know that this is really detrimental for our mental health. And first of all, we know that if we chronically get less less sleep than we need, we of course have problems with our cognitive performance, with memory and with focus, and we are much more likely to get like in the car accident and be like low performance at work. We also know the major link between chronic sleep problems and depression and anxiety, because 75% of people who have chronic sleep issues will develop depression. And also we know that people who have on chronicle basis some problems with sleep, they are 17 times more likely to be diagnosed with anxiety later. But this is kind of the mental health aspect of this. But I just also want to remind about the kind of physical aspects of this, which is like if we don't get enough quality sleep on a regular basis, we're also more prone to have heart problems, diabetes, and cancer. So this is one of the biggest kind of diseases that we get if we are chronically sleep deprived and not getting good sleep. Um, and the numbers are actually striking, because we know that globally about 30% of population gets less than 7 hours of sleep per night. And the recommendations is usually to have 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, which is kind of optimal for most of us, no matter what we actually think. Like if we might think we sleep 5 hours and I'm okay, this is which is shown in the research, not actually the true. We really need to get those 7 to 8 hours. And how people handle it, from the statistics in the US, for example, we know that people who have sleep problems, well, they mostly turn to the sleep medications, like, and 20% of adults in US take sleep medications regularly to help them to sleep. And we also know that this is a very short-term solution to the problem, because we cannot like take medication regularly to improve our sleep, and we need to think about more behavioral approaches, how to get into quality sleep to protect our mental health. And so why then it is so important? Just very briefly, sleep is so important for our health in general, but just to pinpoint some very important things it does in our brain. So it's important for memory and for learning. So whatever we like, if we want to perform good at our work or in school, we need to be sleeping well. It's also very important for our emotional health, because we know that um, sleep is so crucial for regulation of the emotions, and that's why there is the link with the anxiety. And during the sleep happens really magical processes in the brain, and basically we are just cleaning up our brain from all the waste products that were accumulated during the wake periods. So it's a cleaning mechanism for our brain. And on the physical level for the body, it's also important for the immune system, because we are less likely to get sick with the viruses and bacteria if we are like sleeping well. We also have better hormonal control, and we of course recover physically better and have much better metabolic health. So we are less likely to develop diabetes and obesity if we sleep really good amount of time, like 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep per night. And uh, what are those things that we can do for improving our sleep? First of all, I would say that the good quality sleep actually starts in the morning, I would say, because the first thing what you can do to improve your sleep, it's having a regular wake up time, and really seeing the sunrise, I'm sorry, in the morning, because this is really sets your circadian clock and helps you, like, your body to understand that like the day comes. And we know from the research that viewing the sunlight in the morning will help with the sleep in the following night. It will shorten your sleep onset duration, so helps you fall asleep faster, and will also help to have you deeper sleep the following night. So watching the sunlight and creating some morning routine, which will be like 20 minutes maybe, but just staying without like phones and so on, but really dedicating to yourself, maybe some exercise, maybe time for yourself, very important. And also we know that sleep and nutrition are very, very connected. I could spend really like hours talking about it, but what maybe I would pinpoint importantly is just having enough of protein during the day, and really having a lot of kind of protein in the morning to set you more kind of day for the success. It will help you later to feel satiated during the day, and help you to regulate the glucose metabolism during the day, which will help in the end have better quality sleep at night. So as I said, that watching the sunrise is important. The same actually goes for the sunset, because watching the sunset, it's also shown that if we are watching sunset before going to sleep, we are exposed to the red amber lights, which also help us with the circadian clock and keeps us really on track. Because with artificial lighting around us, we really kind of a bit messing up with our circadian system. So it's so important to have these two referral points to our circadian system, like morning and evening. And will do a really like great job for setting up our sleep to success. And In the evening, of course, it's also advisable to have kind of a the same bedtime, more or less, all the time. But it's easy to keep with this if you, for example, keeping regular wake up time. You are more likely to have also regular bedtime because you are kind of growing the sleep pressure through the day, all the time, stably, every day the same. So you're probably more likely to have also the same bedtime. Um, uh, if you are waking up at the same time and really protecting the window of sleep of 8 hours because we are also so prone to sacrifice our sleep for doing some other things, because we think, oh, we maybe can manage to do this before going to bed and all this, or like, I can maybe just push it to 30 minutes still more, although I still need to wake up at 7. So like really trying to protect and have those 8 hours, that this window is really dedicated for your sleep, and the 30 minutes before that or even 1 hour before that should be really dedicated to relaxation, because you cannot kind of expect yourself like closing your laptop and going to sleep. It is kind of a very gradual process because our body needs to be kind of prepared to go to sleep. So having some bedtime routine is very important, which can kind of lower our cortisol, our stress hormone, which builds up during the day. It's very important. And the bedtime routine can be really different for like everybody selects what they prefer to do. Having some family time. I don't know. Journaling is very good. Um, Reflecting on the day, doing some breath work, whatever works for you. You just need to choose what you would like to do. And
And
we
Lena,
also know that.
oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but we have a question from the audience asking,
Yeah.
what is NSDR?
Yes, NSDR, it's a non-sleep deep rest protocols. It's basically kind of a deep relaxation protocols which you can find in YouTube. There are many scripts on how to follow. It's like deep meditation that puts you in the state of deep relaxation, and it's so beneficial for sleep. You can use it, for example, when you are like really short on sleep and you know that you need to recover something, like it can be used because it's just 20 minutes kind of practice, but can help you with the recovery a lot. And
Mhm.
it also helps with sleep quality. So if you do it before going to sleep, it's also really really helpful. So you just can Google and find the scripts very easily, how to follow this meditation, NSDR meditation.
Thank you.
And another thing is like, we know that our thermoregulation is very connected with our sleep. To be able to go to sleep, we need to lower our body temperature. And for example, for some people, having a hot shower before going to bed is really helpful because it's like during the hot shower, of course, your body kind of temperature increases, but when you get out, your blood vessels are still so dilated that you then start releasing the heat and your core body temperature goes down. And this can be so helpful for some people to have like hot shower, hot bath before going to bed. And also, one doesn't need to be kind of forgetting about the really basic things of optimizing your bedroom, because like trying to sleep in the cooler environment, it's about 68 degrees of Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, I put here Celsius, but it's about 68 degrees of Fahrenheit, the temperature. So it's quite cool, but you need to find the optimal for you, but keeping it on the cool side and keeping it dark as much as possible. Having like blackout blinds, or having the sleep mask, for example, if you don't have possibility to have blackout blinds. It seems very minor things, but they really affect a lot, because we are so attuned to the lightning condition. So if we have some light in the early morning, we are probably like likely to wake up. So it's so important to keep it dark. And what has
Another,
it? Mhm.
yeah. So,
Would you?
yeah, go ahead, Lena.
Would a hot shower before bed open up pores? How long after shower do you advise before going to sleep? I would say keeping it like within 1 hour before going to bed. So, like if you go to bed, for example, at 10 o'clock, maybe at 9, you can have a bath. It opens up your blood vessels, like they delayed. And then by 10 o'clock, when you go to sleep, you're more likely to start lowering your core body temperature. So 9:30 would be the best time if you go to sleep at 10, let's say.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, then also keep be mindful about noise level, because a noise wakes us up, especially at the second part of the night, when we sleep in the lighter stages of sleep. During this kind of, especially it's noticeable in kids, because at the second part of the night our sleep is very light. So
Mhm.
keeping it dark and keeping it quiet, it's so important at this point. So having white noise, for example, it can be useful. Also, keeping like humidity optimal and comfortable bedding is so important for the lower back pain and all these things. So it can be helpful. And what are those? Of course, like it's very important to avoid bad things, like which really harm our sleep a lot. We know, for example, that it's really important to refrain from caffeine. I usually advise my patients to refrain it from noon, because we know that caffeine has about 5 hours of half-life, meaning that if you took a cup of coffee at noon, at 5 p.m. you will still have half of that caffeine in your blood. At 10 p.m. you will still have like quarter of that caffeine. So quarter of that caffeine, it's kind of fine, it will not affect. But if you like pushing it to 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. coffee, this really will affect your quality of sleep. Yeah, thank you so much for the comment, Barbara. Another thing is the alcohol. Many people think that they kind of fall asleep faster if they drink, but this is not a sleep. This is a kind of anesthesia thing. So alcohol affects our structure of sleep. It makes sleep not recovering at all. So avoid alcohol, especially before going to bedtime. Heavy sugary things before bedtime is also affecting a lot. Shouldn't be doing that. And exercise, like exercise in the morning and early afternoon, this is the best thing what you can do for sleep. But exercising late in afternoon can really affect your quality of sleep. And of course, try avoid like bright lights and blue lights from the phone. There are many great tips how you can do it, how you can train yourself of not using the phone um, before going to bed, because this is, we know, phone, not only because of blue light affecting us, but because of emotional stimulation, it affects us. And also because of decision making, which we are involved when we are using phone, doing different things like, I don't know, buying something on Amazon and so on. It's just because of these decision making processes we are doing before going to bed, they affect this quality of sleep. So think about how you can work out these fun things for yourself, and there are many great tips. And one last thing I wanted to say about insomnia, it's a very different thing, because all the talk I had, it was about how to optimize sleep and be careful and mindful, and knowing, how it's affect. But another thing is insomnia. So if you are kind of having any anxiety about sleep, because you probably don't sleep so well and you kind of optimized all these things, but you are worried that you're not sleeping enough, you really feel not refreshed and so on. So there are different strategies to work about that. We of course need to be mindful about everything I talked before, but for this it's more important you find the way how you, what is relaxing you. And then it's a lot of mindful work about reframing your thoughts and anxiety about sleep, so that you can build your trust in falling asleep by yourself without using medications. So this is a bit different thing, and kind of usually work with the kind of therapist or coach practitioner, sleep practitioner. So yeah, some would say drink red wine is good for heart and improve sleep. No, unfortunately, this is not true. And also about the heart, it's very widespread knowledge, yes, but unfortunately, it's not true, because we have a beautiful research showing that no amount of alcohol is useful for us for our cardiovascular health either. So because it's kind of toxic. But again, having it once in a while, it's fine because maybe like helps you to socialize or something once in a while, but never take it on the regular basis because this is not good for anything in your body and system. Yeah, and yeah, so I guess this was all talk for what I wanted to briefly just share with you some tips, and things. But if you want to find more, you can check my Instagram. I share usually the tips there.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Lena. You are a wealth of information, and I love everything that you're sharing about sleep hygiene and how it impacts mental health because I truly, you can feel it when you aren't sleeping, or at least for me, when I'm not sleeping, my anxiety can go up. My it just don't feel like myself. And I love all the tips that you're sharing. And on your platforms, you have some great information as well. So I love how you have this shared here. I have your website, caringsleepsolutions.com. So definitely check that out, as well as your Instagram. I love watching your videos on Instagram. And then is that Caring Sleep Solutions _adult? Is that also an Instagram page as well?
Yes, it's another one, a new one only for adults because the previous one was for children mostly. I use it, and another one is for adults.
Oh, and there's such important topics, both populations. I like how you have one for moms and getting their kids to sleep with babies because we know, gosh, during that part of motherhood, that is so hard. And so definitely check that out. We recorded a podcast a few months ago where we talked some more about the motherhood part of it. But it's so important for adults as well. So that's great that you have both populations there. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Valerie, because I'm really happy to spread the word, and I'm really happy to see that people pay more attention to sleep. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, it's almost bedtime for you guys in Spain, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to join, as well as everyone who is asking questions, making comments. Really enjoy having this community together. Be sure to check out all of Lena's incredible resources. And thank you so much again, Lena. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.